and welcome to World War G. I'm Troy.
I like turtles.
I'm AJ.
You see, you're not normal. You're a great guy. I love you, but you're a pod.
All right. Had a good week. Been okay? Everything good?
Yep. Still alive. You know.
Everybody else is still alive?
Shh.
Oh, okay.
Wow. Here, I thought you were going to help me hide the bodies.
I was wondering what that big sack was you were dragging out of your trunk.
I ain't Santa Claus. It's March, dude.
All right. Yeah, my week's been fairly boring.
Really?
Yeah.
Other than getting to see the Batman.
Yeah.
That was kind of the highlight of it.
Yeah.
That or seeing the GF.
Yeah, I haven't been able to see her much this week, unfortunately.
So you made up for it by seeing the Batman?
Well, I had to get my aggression out somehow.
Yeah.
You know.
All that pent up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I saw the Batman twice this week. And I'll have a review of it here in the end of the episode, but then our DLC will go into a deeper dive. So, but for now, let's get to Today in Geek History.
Look, up in the sky, it's a bird.
It's a plane.
It's Today in Geek History.
Today, March 13th, 1918, women were scheduled to march in the St. Patrick's Day parade in New York due to the shortage of men. I thought that was kind of an interesting little tidbit, and it makes perfect sense as far as, like, you know, wars and stuff that were going on during that time.
In 1910?
1918.
Oh, 1918.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, World War I. That makes sense. Okay.
Famous movies that came out today on March 13th. Bloodshot, based on the best-selling comic book series. Vin Diesel stars as Ray Garrison, a soldier recently killed in action, brought back to life as a superhero. Now, I like some of these standalone Bloodshot comics that they have. They're actually pretty good, but this movie was shit.
I was going to say, you said famous movies, right? Famously bad?
Yeah, I think that was probably Vin Diesel's worst role.
Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
And that's saying something.
Yeah, it was on par with, like, a Ghost Rider.
Yeah.
As far as how trashy and stupid it was and unimaginative.
I think this was a Vin Diesel, like,
Straight
passion project.
Really?
Yeah, like, I think he wanted to get this done for a long time. If you want to see a good-ish version, Jason David Frank, who was the Green Ranger in the Power Rangers, original Power Rangers, he did kind of this fan film where he played Bloodshot.
And it's a lot better?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Like, it has a bunch of variant comics, Valiant comics. People, like, there's Ninjak, the Ninja, there's Bloodshot, there's, I think, Madman. Madman was one of those. I don't know. Anyway.
Okay.
You can look it up on, like, YouTube. It's pretty good.
The Hunt. 12 strangers wake up, don't know what's going on, and they start killing each other. This one, I remember seeing it. I know it went a little bit political, but I remember enjoying it. I thought it was kind of, I don't know, fun, and you weren't sure who was going to survive.
I don't think I saw that.
Really?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it gets pretty gnarly. There's a crazy fight scene inside of a house that... Man, it's great. But yeah, people are getting picked off left and right. It's kind of like an actual, like, Hunger Games kind of style, and it's worth a watch. The Postcard Killer, based on the James Patterson #1 New York Times best-selling novel. This one starring Negan. Back when, you know, during the height of his popularity.
Jeffrey Dean Morgan.
Yes.
Yeah.
And one final thing that did release on March 13th was Smash Bros. Ultimate. It was only a DLC. Like, there were so many, like, there was, like, Animal Crossing and all these other games that came out, like, the day before or the day after kind of a deal.
Yeah.
But it was just a Smash Bros. Ultimate DLC that dropped on the 13th.
Okay.
All right, fair enough. Did you get much into Ultimate at all?
I haven't played a Smash Brothers game since the original.
Really?
Yeah.
Brawl was probably my favorite. I played the hell out of that with my friends.
I know there are some people that like worship at the altar of that game.
Yes.
But I was just like, yeah, it's fine.
Really?
It's fun.
Well,
I mean, it's fun, but I'm not like, I wasn't obsessed over it.
That was probably because you were playing by yourself, though.
I've been playing by myself since I was 12 years old.
Yeah, you throw in a couple of PCs in the mix. You're like, oh, well, no. Like, I just remember having like the funnest time with like my friends would come over and like be pushing each other as we're like trying to fight each other. And
no, I mean, yeah, I did have friends, and but it just wasn't, it was fine.
Yeah,
it was fine.
No, there are people that take that game way too seriously, though. It's ridiculous. We'll sometimes play it at work, because they'll bring in their Switch on these really slow days. I'm like, all right, whatever. So you have to go off the camera so they can't see you, but then you can like play down one of these aisles. Yeah. So we were playing, and they were like getting really into it, and I didn't care as much. Like, I don't know. I wasn't to like on the level of just like pressing buttons. I kind of like had a system or a strategy. Yeah. It was wait out the other guys and like move around until I'm the last one, and then I just got my ass handed to me. So
that was my strategy when I played dodgeball in middle school.
Really?
Yeah.
Hide behind other kids.
Yeah, until I was the last one, then it got my ass kicked.
But you're like, hey, I was the last one, guys.
I was the last one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wish I had some team.
Yeah. All right.
But there you have it. That's today in Geek History.
All right. Then let's get to this week in Geek.
This weekend.
Geek.
Jason Momoa and Dave Bautista seem to be teaming up once again, because they did so on the Dune movie.
Oh, that's right. They were both in that.
Right?
Yeah.
So they're teaming up again, this time as a buddy cop film. And on the late night show with James Corden, Aquaman star confirmed the Lethal Weapon style project in the works, while promoting Sweet Girl, his newest film. When questioned, Corden, the actor, said that Bautista personally reached out to him. He had to admit that he wasn't on Twitter, but Twitter kind of blew up once he'd posted this. Let's see. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm not on Twitter. Yeah, this is what he had to say. I'm not on Twitter, but he literally texted me 4 days ago. We need to do a buddy cop film. We met on the series of Dune together and absolutely hit it off. Let's do it in Hawaii. I have a couple other good ideas, so it's off to the races. Now, this is only in the beginning form. It hasn't. There's nothing else to it.
Yeah, it's just in conceptual form right now.
I do sometimes appreciate it when celebrities kind of like throw it out into the universe, and they're just like, hey, let's we should do this, and then just to see what fans react to it. And of course, if they're huge fans of these stars, they're going to be like, this is a great idea. But that's how a lot of these movies that we would have never seen actually get made. Right? Is by them just, hey, I'd love to play the Joker. Hey, I'd love this. But sometimes you're just like, okay, like, let's leave it up to better people to decide this.
Exactly. And celebrities will say that, but then it has to go through like managers and studios, and people who have money can actually greenlight films.
Yeah. Would you want to see this kind of a movie in Hawaii?
Yeah.
An action film?
Yeah, I think that'd be good.
Any ideas? Because they don't even have a synopsis besides it taking place in Hawaii.
I would guess if they're cops that Bautista would play the super serious one, and Jason Momoa would play kind of the goofy, laid-back, relaxed guy.
Yeah.
And it would be kind of a Lethal Weapon thing, where Bautista would be the Danny Glover and Momoa would be the Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
The
other way around though, right?
No.
Was Mel Gibson more by the line, like towing the line?
Yeah, Jason Momoa would be the Mel Gibson.
Oh, yeah, I gotcha.
Yeah, And I mean, I don't think they're gonna like
Reinvent the wheel.
Yeah.
No.
There's only so much you can do with a buddy cop film, but you know.
Like location would be cool. The actors are cool, so it's got potential. I think it would probably do about as well as like Kevin Hart, Rock team up kind of film.
Sure.
But it would make its money back for sure.
Yeah, he'd do all right. I'm still waiting for the movie where we get Bautista, John Cena, and The Rock all in one movie.
The triple threat.
Yeah. We'll call it WrestleMania. How about that?
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. So I figured I'd bring this up. This just need a little acknowledgement here. One of the long-running actors on Sesame Street has passed. For 45 years, Emilio Delgado's Luis helped welcome children down to Sesame Street. That's why generations of families are now mourning the loss of one of Sesame Street's most beloved figures. Delgado has died at 81. Yeah, 45 years. He has been on that show almost since the beginning. Almost.
Really?
Yeah. He has the record for the longest running role for a Mexican American in a TV series. Yeah. Were you ever Sesame Street kid?
Not really. I mean, I watched it like occasionally, but not religiously. No. How about yourself?
Oh yeah.
That was your jam.
Yeah. Sesame Street, Mr. Rogers.
Oh, I was a huge Mr. Rogers fan for sure.
Because I was always a big fan of like the Muppets and everything, and that's why I watched Sesame Street.
Makes sense. And then once you actually get to see the behind the scenes, it's crazy how much goes on to make that show happen. Yeah. It's insane. But man, that's a long time.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
And he never moved on to something else. He never thought he was too big for the show, and left. Like he was like, there was a core group of like actual people,
right?
Like there was him, there was Bob, there was the black guy, forgot his name, Gordon, and he's just this core group, and they've been there like the entire time.
Yeah.
It'd
be kind of interesting to see kind of year by year how they kind of changed. The Muppets remained the same, but they aged.
Yeah.
So the Batman spin-off series about the Penguin at HBO Max has officially been ordered. Variety reported that Colin Farrell will return for a limited series after starring in the famous Batman villain. And I actually think this has great potential. I didn't recognize it was him at first. Like, I knew that he was playing it, but like he looked completely different. Yeah. Like, it was insane, the transformation that they did on his character.
It seemed like he was kind of doing his version of like Al Pacino. Like, I think that's where his inspiration was.
Oh,
or not Al Pacino. Al Capone.
Al Capone, yeah.
Al Capone. Famous gangster, had a scar on his face, was kind of that typical New York kind of
in your face kind of.
Oh, take it easy, sweetheart. Oh, hey.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of what he was doing.
Well, it worked for the film.
It worked.
Yeah. Do you think that this will kind of segue into like the Batman 2?
Probably.
Right?
I would imagine.
Because they haven't greenlit any other projects, and rightfully so. He was probably one of the bigger standout stars.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be fine. If they do kind of a gritty, kind of a super like mob-based TV show. I think it might be kind of cool.
Yeah, don't go the direction that they did with Gotham.
No.
That-
No, I would even say leave Batman out of it. Leave all that out of it. Save that for the movie. And then have the Penguin, like, starting to build up his empire.
Yes.
Start to take control of the mob. Like, I think that'd be kind of interesting.
Right?
Yeah. I feel bad for Colin Farrell that he'd have to get in that makeup every day. I'm sure that takes hours.
Yeah.
Yeah. But speaking of the Batman, the Riddler is once again in the limelight. Quite literally. So I thought kind of talk about the other live action Riddler actors and kind of discuss their portrayals of the villain. So the first one to portray the Riddler on in live action was Frank Gorshan.
Yeah.
And he did it in the 1966 Batman TV show. Now, if you don't know who Frank Gorshan was, he was a comedian, he was a stand-up, he was an incredible impressionist, and he kind of took what the Riddler was doing in the comics and brought it on screen.
Yeah. Straight off the pages.
Yeah. And I think out of everybody, like, Frank Gorshan is probably one of the best actors in that series. Like, he's making some really cool choices, and the way he's saying the lines is kind of cool and kind of creepy, but menacing, but funny at the same time. And yeah, if you go back and watch some of the episodes that he was in, it's actually really good. He's really good in it. And then for a while, Gorshan stepped away, and they brought in John Astin.
Yeah.
Who was Gomez, famously. And they brought him in for a little bit, and he was basically kind of doing the same thing Gorshan was. He was kind of copying his role. Like, I don't think they wanted to change the character much. So
no.
Yeah.
If anything, they didn't want you to know that the character had changed.
Right. Just like, this is obviously the same guy. Like, don't look too deep into it.
A lot of the times with these other actors that take on these iconic roles, like the Joker, right? After somebody takes it on, they want to, like, make it their own.
Yeah.
This dude, no, he was like, no, let's play it the same.
Yeah.
It's the same show.
Now, according to Frank Gorshan, the reason he left was, or he couldn't come back, was he had some other commitments. He was, filming some other stuff. But according to the producer, William Dozier, it was because Gorshan demanded a higher salary.
Oh.
So,
the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, believe who you want. And then we didn't see the Riddler on live screen again until 1995 with Batman Forever and Jim Carrey. Now, Jim Carrey basically is kind of doing what Frank Gorshan was doing back in the 60s.
Right.
But
in the 90s.
Even more so.
Yeah.
Because he's Jim Carrey. I mean, this was the height of Jim Carrey's popularity, right? Like, he was on fire during this time. And the thing is, though, at this point, if we go back to the comic books, the Riddler wasn't like that.
No.
Anymore. The Riddler was a bit more
calculated.
Yeah. They turned him into a bit more of an intellectual.
So that they could also utilize Batman's kind of intellect and showcase Batman as being this really, like, detective.
Yeah. And they wanted to have the Riddler also be kind of on the same, on par with Batman as far as intelligence goes.
Yes.
And so, I mean, going back and watching that movie, it's not horrible, but it's not great. I mean, it's one of Jim Carrey's biggest, his most iconic roles, but it's
Besides Ace Ventura,
it's a little over the top.
Or The Mask,
yeah. And then the next time we see the Riddler in live action again was Cory Michael Smith on the Gotham TV show.
Okay.
Now, what they did with this one is they made him much more menacing, like we were just talking about. They made him much more calculating. He was going more into that sociopath, psychotic serial killer mode that we would eventually see in this new movie. But the thing with that one was it was kind of cool to see his transition from like a forensic pathologist in the Gotham PD to this villain, super villain. Yeah. But that was right when I kind of dropped out of Gotham, so yeah.
You didn't ever finish it?
No.
No, neither did I.
No. And I went because I heard like, oh, you do see Batman for a second, like the very last episode. I went and looked at it.
Yeah.
Man, it looks like someone got a Batman costume from like a Halloween shop. Like
Seriously?
It looks bad.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it looks terrible. And then we now have this latest iteration, Paul Dano, and the Batman, who is basically
the Zodiac.
Zodiac.
Killer. Yeah.
From the
Zodiac
1960s.
/ Saw kind of a killer.
And I think for me, this was kind of the natural progression of this character because you couldn't have a guy in this world just like robbing banks and leaving little clues and stuff and little riddles and like that. It wouldn't play.
No.
So if you had the Riddler be more of this anarchist serial killer, setting booby traps and stuff like that, makes more sense in that world.
It does.
Yeah. And I think Dano did fine. I think a couple of times he was a bit over the top.
Right.
He could have pulled it back a little bit, but And I also like the aspect of that character where he was like on the dark web.
Mm-hmm.
He had all these little crazy followers and stuff, and
which I'm sure he would. Right?
Yeah. It's a very modern version of what the Riddler would be today. So,
and I don't even know where you'd go with the Riddler in the next iteration.
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you'd have to see what's trending and what's going on in the current environment.
There was a storyline in the comics where Riddler was more or less reformed and he was working with the police.
Okay.
To help kind of solve crimes and stuff. So, I don't know. Maybe you could go that direction.
And then he kind of gets too deep into a case and it turns him?
Maybe.
Okay. So, from the Riddler to the PTC, the Parent Television and Media Council.
Talk about supervillains.
PTC. I mean, it's no like Legion of Doom, but it's pretty close. It's
close.
Yeah. Is speaking out against Disney ahead of the March 16th edition of the former Netflix Marvel series Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and The Punisher, and The Defenders on Disney+. All these series are significantly more violent and adult-themed in subject matter compared to the other offerings that Disney Plus has in their library.
Very sexual. Yeah. Characters are boning all the time.
Oh, yeah. Luke Cage and Jessica Jones.
Oh, yeah.
The PTC warned Disney that their streaming service would destroy your brand. For nearly 90, this is what they had to say.
Right.
For more than 90 years, the Walt Disney Company has been the symbol, synopsis with the word family friendly. And I can think of no other corporation in America's history that has been built more on those things as family friendly. Tim Winter, the president of Parent Television and Media Council, said in a statement the company's So let's see. Platform Disney Plus, logically marked as a family-friendly streaming service, and parents have placed their trust in Disney to deliver just that. Yeah, they do. They do have it rated as TVMA and R rated on there, but it wasn't all that bad. And now that Disney has acquired these guys, they've even used them in their films, right, or their TV shows.
Yeah.
Matt Murdock, right? It only makes sense that they would put them on their streaming service.
Right. Plus, where was the outrage when they brought The Simpsons over to Disney Plus?
Yeah.
That's not exactly family friendly.
But it's animated, so you can get away with more stuff, right?
But if they were to bring over Family Guy, I'm sure they'd freak the fuck out.
Yeah, for sure. Which I could eventually see Family Guy, because it is a Fox.
It is Fox, right? I think they have a deal with Hulu at the moment. So, yeah. But look, first of all, this is where you parent your kids. If you don't want them to watch those shows, then make sure they don't watch them.
Yeah.
You know? Simple as that.
They could do what they've done with other. I think there's a thing in Netflix where you can set parental controls. Yeah. Right? As well as you can just say hey, I just want kid friendly shows. Sure. And kind of set those parameters. So because they've marked it as MA, you can just say no MA shows. Yeah. And there you have it.
Yeah. There you have it. But also, if you peel back the layers of Disney, they've never been... I mean, on the face, yes, they're family-friendly, but if you really start to peel back... Yeah. Where the tentacles reach out isn't always family-friendly.
These parents do know that they own Deadpool, right? Now?
No. Oh. I mean, there was it... Which movie studio was it? Was it Touchstone or Mirage or I don't know. One of them that was owned by Disney, but it was they would show. It was a way to make R-rated PG-13 films.
Right. Now I don't feel like Disney has to hide so much. Right?
Yeah.
It's just okay, this is 2022, guys.
Disney is so big and such a global force that you can't stop it even if you wanted to.
No. Sorry, PTC.
They could come out with a full-blown porn where it was Mickey and Minnie fucking, and it's not gonna do much.
Everybody would just say oh yeah, except for that one film. Everything else, I love Disney.
Yeah.
That's really honestly what would happen. And you give it a couple of weeks, something else would come out, and everybody would forget about that film.
Plus, also go back and look at some of those 40s and 50s cartoons that they made, and they were massively racist.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If just do a PTC, do a little research before you start getting on your high horse.
Now I'm trying to think what I would call the Mickey and Minnie porno. The Not So Quiet House of Mouse.
Was something to do with Toontown? Poontown!
Oh. It writes itself.
Boom! There you go. Poontown.
Oh, Steamboat Willie.
There you go.
That's his name. His porno name.
Yeah. Steamboat Willie in Poontown. Oh, yeah.
The name of the episode, question mark?
House, let's see. Down. I was trying to think something like Down Blouse or something like that. House of, I don't know. My creative juices have run dry.
I feel like we need to throw this out to our listeners. When that happens, it's just like, what would be the best name for a Disney porno?
For Disney porn. Disney animated porn.
Yes.
Yeah. So, it was a few episodes ago when I was talking about Death on the Nile. Have you seen that yet, by the way?
I have not. No.
Okay. Where you asked if maybe I thought that would be the last one. I was like, I think I said probably, but wow,
Yeah.
I was wrong. Because there's a third Agatha Christie film in the works from Kenneth Branagh and 20th Century Fox. It has been nearly a month since the theatrical release of Death on the Nile, and now 20th Century Fox president Steve Asbell has confirmed that they're already starting development on a third installment to their Hercule Poirot franchise, with a completed script written by Michael Green.
Now they're just milking it.
Well, why not, you know? I wonder if they're... Because I don't know Agatha Christie novels.
Yeah.
How many Poirot novels are there?
I don't even know. Yeah.
I don't know. I could look it up, but I'm not going to. But I mean, that's fine. I liked the other two. I thought Kenneth Branagh's Hercule Poirot was really good, so why not?
Is the first better than the second, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, the second's fine, but I think the first is just like such a classic story, and they had, you know,
A great location.
And big name actors, and so I mean, not that this one doesn't have big name actors, but it does have Gal Gadot in it. Yeah.
So, GTA 5 came out in 2013. Now on its third generation of consoles, Rockstar is offering a 3-month promo coming up for the next gen. So for Xbox X and Series S. Man, Xbox needs to get their shit together with those names. PlayStation does it so much easier.
I know.
PS5.
I cannot tell you the order of the Xbox systems.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you got the Xbox, and then the Xbox 360, and then the Xbox One. Wasn't that it? I think, and then the Xbox.
I literally
X
just told you.
/
I don't know.
Yeah. I think that's how it went, but yeah, I don't know. And then you've got
no
PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5.
Yeah.
Okay, but Rockstar, for 3 months, they're offering this promo. For the Xbox Series X/S, you can get the enhanced version of the story mode for $19.99, or online for $9.99. For the PlayStation, the story mode is going to be $9.99, and it's going to be free to play on PlayStation Plus online. Then after those 3 months, both will go up to $39.99. I know they do have GTA 5 in the works, but I feel like after, 9 years, almost 10 years, they should just offer it as a free game for all. Even if they do an upgraded, remastered looking, and it seems a little shady because with the story mode, they've only released like maybe 1 or 2 pictures of how much better it's going to look on the next gen of consoles, but they really haven't released like footage. It's just a couple of pictures. And of course, you can make the pictures look really nice.
Of course, yeah.
I know that they did have to say in the article that he's just like, a lot of gamers, they want just more content. They don't necessarily want a new game and an addition. But I feel like after this many years, I don't know, they're definitely milking it. I have gone back and recently played a little bit with my friends, different game modes, but it's the same stuff. I don't know. You've still got these trolls in the lobby that are like blowing everybody up, and it makes it difficult to run these different missions. You're just like, I just want to take down this yacht. I don't really want to have to deal with people that are flying around in these jets shooting everybody.
Yeah. And that's why I don't play a lot of online games, because I hate crap like that.
You can go into more of like a passive mode, so that you don't get beat up, but at the same time, I don't know, takes a little bit away from it.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Do you feel like these games need to keep releasing more content to keep people engaged? Is that the direction to go? Because you do create a game, and I get that they've created a crazy cool world, right?
Right.
But do they need to milk it for all it's worth, or just leave it as it is and let people play around with it and then move on to another game?
I would say just start making new games.
Yeah.
What's the big game on PS5? I don't even know.
Elden Ring, but that's also available on everything. That's probably the biggest one right now. Everybody's really focused on that game.
Okay.
But yeah, other than that, there's not really any.
Yeah, just start making new games.
Maybe the new Horizon game. That one's pretty popular as well.
Okay.
But yeah, make new games, better graphics, and move on.
Yeah, I agree. All right. Let's get to our Revs and Rex.
So I do have a rec here. This is Little Nightmares 2. The second installment. I loved the hell out of Little Nightmares back when it was more of an indie kind of a game. But it was you had Little Nightmares, and then you had 4 different DLC that you could play that kind of added to the story. The fourth DLC, though, was impossible without a walkthrough. You legit had to go through this mansion, run downstairs, turn this picture just a little bit to the left, run back upstairs, do 3 other things. There was no way to figure it out without a walkthrough. But all of the other ones, I loved the game. It had kind of a creepy Miyazaki-esque, Spirited Away kind of feel to it. I don't know. Some of the villains that you had to interact with and the creatures, they were very methodical, but they had patterns that they would do. They would kill you, and it was pretty gnarly, but at the same time, if you did certain things, they were easy to evade and avoid.
Okay.
But in this one, I feel like it focused more on just kind of running and timing, which took a little bit away of took a little bit from the horror side of things. You did, however, in this one, get to run around with a flashlight, and there were some really creepy parts that I was playing at 1 in the morning. I'm like, I think I might need to turn this off and watch some Family Guy or something. So it did have its moments, but the ending, I was so damn disappointed with the ending. It still bugs me. I'm thinking about it. I'm gonna have to tell you off the air what it is. But it was just wait, why would you do that? I don't know what direction they're gonna go with it. They did leave it open for, and there has been some speculation that they are doing a third one. But as it stands, I hope they can kind of redeem themselves, and perhaps this is just setting up the third one. So,
all right,
we'll have to see. Out of 5 hats, because you do along the way, you get to collect these different little hats and different masks that you get to wear. So out of 5 hats, I'm probably at about the Indian, I would be a 2.5 because I'm it's kind of in the middle, but I'm almost dropping it down. I'm gonna drop it down to 2 hats because of that ending.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
But it's still, if you love the first one, you'll still find some enjoyment out of this one.
All right.
So give it a play.
Well, like I said, I was finally able to see The Batman.
Yes.
I saw it twice this week, which is a commitment
Oh,
Because
it
this
is.
movie is 3 hours long.
But did it feel like 3 hours?
The
Second time, perhaps?
the second time it did, yes.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the first time?
So, yeah, really quickly, I enjoyed the movie. I think the supporting cast did a great job. What's his name? The actor who played Commissioner Gordon, or Lieutenant Gordon as he was. The heck is his name? I can't remember. Anyway, thought he did a really good job. Obviously, Colin Farrell as the Penguin did a great job. Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman did a good job. Rob Pattinson, though, as the Batman, was just kind of there.
Really?
Yeah.
You didn't like some of the stuff that he did with the character?
I liked him. I liked him in the suit. I thought he looked good. I liked that they didn't do crazy things with his voice like they did with like Christian Bale and stuff. Like he just lowered his voice. I thought that was fine.
Yeah.
I wasn't a big fan of Mopey Bruce, Mopey emo Bruce. But what I did like is they made him much more of a detective.
Yes.
And I really liked that.
Yeah. I wasn't too huge of a fan that he was able to like solve everything within a couple of seconds.
Well, I mean that's Batman.
I'm like, hold up, Batman. Give me a second to figure this out myself. Like,
as a Batman fan, I mean, you should know that that's how it's going to go.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. But
that's what Batman does.
It's like, wow, that was pretty fast to figure out those riddles, especially during that one scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But I mean, and again, like I said, I did like it.
Yeah.
I liked that it was. It was a very. It was a detective movie. It was a detective story. It's a police story, crime story. And I liked that. And I liked that it was much more grounded. Like, I thought Nolan's movies were grounded.
Yeah.
This was a lot more.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like, this was super realistic. I also liked that Batman had only been doing this for a couple years. And so not everyone was taking him super seriously yet.
Right.
So what he had to do was really instill fear into people.
Yeah.
And so in order to do that...
they showcased that right off the bat.
Yeah, in order to do that, he had to be brutal.
Yes.
Yeah. And he had to make people fear him. And so the way they showed that, I thought was really cool. And I'll get into it more in the DLC, but overall, yeah, it's a good movie, and I think it's a perfectly worthy succession or successor to the Batman franchise.
Yeah.
Out of 5 bats.
I think I went with like that or batarangs.
Yeah.
Where he's like,
yeah. I think I'm at like 3.5.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw it twice. I don't think I need to see it again.
Kind of got all there is to see.
Yeah. Yeah. So there you
go. One final thing that I did see is I did finish the 4th season of Good Girls. Good Girls is about a group of women that they initially went in and robbed a bank because times are tough. This stars Christina Hendricks, Mae Whitman, Rita, Manny Montana, Rena Wilson, and Matthew Lillard, or Shaggy.
Right.
As, most people know him by. This 4th season, like, I was kind of hooked on the first season. I thought it was kind of interesting. their backstories, their motivation for why they go in and rob this place, and then they get caught up with this mob boss that he wants to launder money and finds out that they're really good at making money. This, to me, almost feels like the first half of the 5th season of Breaking Bad, where it just kind of like moves along. They move into different currency in this one, and they it just felt like I wasn't as invested as I was in like previous like seasons, which is kind of just disheartening. But I felt like I was also too far along not to just like watch it and at least give it a watch. Yeah, I was kind of over the whole season. It's decent. It's got a couple of like interesting parts, but within the episode they're gonna figure out a solution to it and move on with their lives. And then certain things that you're just like, hey, wait, hold on. Like there's an FBI agent that she kind of becomes buddies with one of them, and as they're talking, she also steals some fake laundered money from her, like right from her own place. And then they don't really bring that back up as the detective, like, just letting evidence disappear on her watch. It was just like, okay, hold up. I think they would probably say something,
Sure. Yeah.
But overall, it was decent, I think, as far as this one goes. Out of 5 $10 bills, I am at a 2. Yeah.
Okay.
If you've seen the other seasons, you'll probably somewhat enjoy this season, but you'll kind of be ready for it to be over as well.
All right. Well, I also started watching a TV show.
Yeah.
Started watching 1883. Oh, sorry. I started thinking about the show. Yeah, so judging by the title, you might guess that this takes place in 1883, particularly in Texas.
Oh, with Sam Elliott and Tim McGraw.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth May, Faith Hill's in it as well.
Yep, Faith Hill's in it. LaMonica Garrett, Eric Nelson, Billy Bob Thornton. Yeah, James Jordan.
I feel like people liked this show a little bit more, but that was because they'd already seen Yellowstone, so they'd had that foundation.
Well,
but watching this as a standalone,
even if it's a standalone, it should still be an entertaining show,
right?
But man, it drags.
Seriously.
Now I've only seen the first 3 episodes, so maybe it picks up.
Yeah. Are you going to continue on?
If I've watched everything else. So here's the story. There's these 2 guys played by Sam Elliott and LaMonica Garrett. Sam Elliott plays Shea Brennan. They call him Captain because I think he was a captain in the Civil War. LaMonica Garrett plays a guy named Thomas. And they see this guy, James Dutton, played by Tim McGraw, who's being chased by these bandits on a stagecoach. And they see that he can kind of handle himself with a gun. He kind of takes the bandits out, and and they all end up at this town, Fort Worth, Texas. I forgot what the town was called. It was like 50 Acres of Hell, Texas. I don't know, something like that. This really rough town.
Right.
And so Sam Elliott, his character his job is to take these immigrants from Texas all the way to Oregon. These immigrants from immigrants, not immigrants, immigrants from Germany.
Immigrants that were gimps.
Immigrants. From Germany, and that's kind of the story. Isabel May plays Elsa Dutton, Tim McGraw character's daughter, and she's the most interesting character because she plays a very, she's very kind of liberal, she's kind of a feminist. they want her to be proper, but she refuses to. She's always wandering away, getting in trouble, likes to ride horses, shoot guns and stuff like. And so that's kind of an interesting character to have in that time.
Well, yeah, because for the most part, I was looking it up, and movies that take place in the 1800s, you've got like 12-Year Slave, Les Mis, Sweeney Todd, Master and Commander, The Patriot. I guess that's it. Well, but you don't see too many of these shows about the West, what's taking place in the 1800s.
What are you talking about? Pretty much every Western that's been made.
Really?
Yeah, takes place in the 1800s.
Perhaps like, well, you think so? The majority of them?
Yes. Every cowboy movie that's ever been made takes place in the 1800s. Weirdo.
Not on this list. What the hell, Screen Rant?
But anyway. But it's just, I just want some action, like, I mean, there's a few good gunfights. There's a really cool scene with Billy Bob Thornton's character. He plays a marshal, where he just goes and just, massacres this gang that's in his town. Like, it's actually one of the cooler scenes in the series. But it's just kind of slow, and it's kind of plotting, and it's just, let's just get on with it. And, they would go a few miles, and then they'd have to stop and go back to the town, and go a few miles, and something happened, and have to go back to the town. I'm like, oh my gosh, let's just go. Let's go. Anyway, out of, so far, like I said, I've only seen the first 3 episodes. So out of 5, what do we do? Out of 5, you could pick anything. Guns, spurs, horses. Let's do mustaches. Everybody has a mustache. Out of 5 mustaches, I'm honestly at like 1.5. It's just boring.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
It's just boring. And I mean, maybe, hey, it's the West wasn't, all shootouts and stuff and okay corrals and stuff all the time, and I get that, but that was the most interesting parts, and that's stuff we want to see. We don't need to see long cattle drives. That's all I'm saying. So, all right. While AJ tries to look up all the westerns,
I'm looking at the ones that came up in the 1800s, dude. We got like Little Darling Clementine, Little Big Man, The Alamo, Dead Man. There's not that many good ones.
Yeah.
But while I do that,
anyway, wait, hang on. So, are you looking up the best movies from the 1800s?
Or
what were you looking?
Movies that take place in the 1800s as far as westerns go.
Okay. I was okay. I was confused. So when you're talking about good ones, you're saying there's not many that has to do with the okay.
Yeah, the 1800s.
Gotcha. Okay. I was confused. I'm good.
All right.
Well, I mean, you got Tombstone.
When did that take place?
1800s.
Do you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Wyatt Earp. You got others. All those spaghetti westerns with Clint Eastwood. Good, Bad, the Ugly in those?
Oh, okay. 18. See, I was thinking like more of the early 1900s, but Tombstone does take place in 1881.
Mm-hmm. No, by the early 1900s, pretty much the age of the cowboy was gone.
Really?
Yeah. More or less. Alright, anyway. But if you're a patron of ours, You can click over to the DLC. We're going to do a bit of a deep dive on the Batman. Things we like, things we didn't like. Things we'd like to see in future Batman movies, maybe.
Yeah.
So if you haven't, you can go sign up there. It's only $1 a month. Very cheapest tier. But that's at patreon.com/WorldWarG. If you just want to listen to our episodes by themselves, you can go to worldwarg.podbean.com. We're also on the social medias. Mostly on Facebook is where we have a lot of our activities. So you can find us at facebook.com/WorldWarG Podcast. Or you can find AJ sharing stuff, just sharing up a storm, get us all kinds of views.
World War G2.
Reaching thousands of people with some of your shares. Where am I? Oh, you can find our merchandise. I just created a new Irish-themed.
Oh, they look legit.
Pretty cool, right?
Yeah, I'm going to have to pick up a shirt or a hat.
A new Irish-themed logo for St. Patrick's Day. I was going to write that down. I was going to write the exact website down, but for now, just type in your search bar World War G and shopping, and you should find our Spreadshirt shop. You can also email us anytime,
day or night,
at worldwargpod@gmail.com. So this has been World War G. That has been AJ.
That has been Troy.
Stay geeky, my friends. And make sure when you go to sleep at night to put your boots upside down so snakes don't get in them. Or some other cowboy phrase. All right.